You've seen the work we put in and day out, challenging myths, debunking old wives' tales, and exposing poor breeding practices. Ugh. We spent years researching, studying, and applying real-world experiences to perfect the art of science of breeding. Why? Because you deserve the best, most accurate information out there. But to keep this mission alive and growing, we need your support. If you found value in the Bred to Perfection live show, take a moment, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share our content. It may seem small, but every like, every subscriber, and every share helps us reach more breeders who need to hear the truth, who want to learn what it really takes to create, maintain, and improve high-quality strains. This isn't just a YouTube channel, it's a movement, and you're a vital part of it. If you believe in what we're doing, if you want to help others discover the power of true breeding, help push this channel to the top. Like, subscribe, and share. Together, we make a difference. Thank you for standing with us. Now, let's get to work. Entertaining, informative, and educational. Inspiring content that makes a difference.
This is the Maximus Troy Publications Broadcasting Network.
Join the Academy.
I've hit the dead zone, lassie. I ruined me chickens for the last time. Quick, Bertie, get the number for the Breeders Academy.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Bred Perfection. I'm Kenny Troiano, founder of the Breeders Academy, and I'm here with my wife Nancy and Peter Brown. I almost forgot what to say, didn't I?
you did what I did. Okay, I'm going to start the show with this one. Sorry, Peter. Good day, Peter. Good to see you. So,
howdy.
We went to the Southern California Poultry Club show. Right, Kenny?
Yeah, something like
that. About a week. It was 2 weeks ago now, wasn't it?
Was it really?
No, was it a week? Maybe it was a week. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, just went to that show here recently. And so Kenny met up with a few of our members, and hey, members, thanks for being there. And so we were interviewing one of our members, I think it was Mario. I believe his name was. I'm like, hey, everybody, this is Mario, and he's a member of the Bred to Perfection. Kenny goes, Breeders Academy. I'm like, yeah. Breeders Academy. Okay, take 2. Start over. So it's like I couldn't remember for the life of me. It was nuts. But so, Peter, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Can't complain.
Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to find a banner. If I seem like I'm out of touch right now, I'm trying to find something I forgot. Pete and I were talking and yakking and kind of forgot about the show there for a second. So, oh my God, here it is right here. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you got to pull up his banner.
Yeah. So, is that all you want to say about the show?
No.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
Talk about something else.
It's a good thing we edit this
when you want
for the podcast side of it.
Okay, so you want to talk about the show right now. All right. So it was a really good show. There were so many different things going on at once. In fact, we did do an episode on it on the Friday that we said we weren't going to do a show. And so I edited it and we aired it on last Friday. And what was really cool about that, Kenny, is you and I sat in the chat room and we were just chatting with everybody as the show was being aired. That was a lot of fun. It took a lot of pressure off of us because we could just sit back and chat with everybody. But anyway, talking about the show, they had a double show and I didn't really quite grasp the concept of what that was until later on in the day. They had a show and one judge would go through the show and judge all the chickens. And then a different judge went through the same show and judged all the chickens. So you had twice the chance to win, grand champion, reserve champion in first place and all that. So that was pretty cool because you got 2 different judges' perspective of what they thought about your poultry. And they had ducks and turkeys and geese as well. The one thing I do have to say, I have to apologize to the Gamefowl community. When I went over to the area where the Gamefowl show was being held, it was in such a confined area that you only had like a foot between each cage to get through the aisles. And there was a lot of people around the outer edges of the aisles. And I didn't feel comfortable getting in between the aisles to film anything because I didn't know if I was allowed to. And a lot of people spoke Spanish and I don't speak Spanish. So I didn't really know if I should go in there, not to mention I'm a girl. So like, who is this woman over here filming all this stuff? So I felt a little uncomfortable and I thought, okay, it's pretty crowded over here right now. I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to go film some other things and I'm going to come back to this. And then about an hour later, when I did come back to it, they were already pulling the pins down and man, that thing was done so fast. I couldn't believe it. I was able to get who won grand champion. So you have that in the footage of the video of who got grand champion, but I wasn't able to get any other footage because it was there and gone. And originally the Gamefowl show was supposed to be held outside, but it was raining. So they pulled them all inside. So it was really confined in there. And also the pens they're down below. They're the square pens. And so it's really hard to get your camera down level so you can get a good shot of each rooster or hen. And so I was dealing with that. So I had a lot of issues that I was dealing with and I learned from it. And the next show I go to, I know I'm just going to need to push right in there and get the shots because I
looked at the video. I go, "Where's all the Gamefowl?"
Really bad that I didn't get any of the shots of the Gamefowl show. So I apologize, guys, for that.
Yeah. But my mentor, Jack Dodd, he did really well.
He did.
Yeah, he won pretty much everything. That hen he showed, it's one of the best wheaten hens I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, she was perfect.
It was beautiful. Yeah, really nice. I had a chance to talk to the representative of Nutrina about feeding, and maybe having him come on the show and talk about nutrition and maybe even a sponsorship. but there's a lot we need to do before we do that. I'm not really pushing for the sponsorship. If they give us a deal that works for us, great. If not, then I'm not worried about it. I feel that the advertisements, doing too much of them, takes away from the experience of the show. And so I'd rather have a great show that's fun to watch than be bombarded with advertisements. So we'll see what happens. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then I talked to Tony Gutierrez, who's a representative for Cruz Feed. I've known Tony for a long time. And again, him and I sat down. We talked about feeds and nutrition and the company. And him and I were talking about how our companies have grown, both of ours. It was a great talk. So we got to meet the members, got to meet some new people, got to meet some representatives. It was a pretty good show for us.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I was moving around that area. I was all over the place. As you can tell in the video, go back and watch the video. It's episode, what are we on now?
It's not an episode. It was just an extra video.
Wasn't? Oh,
yeah.
Extra. God, I don't even deem an episode number. Dang. Okay, whatever. Moving on.
I was going to think, I don't want to say what I was going to think. So anyways, Black Friday for the Breeders' Academy ends tonight. I'll probably turn it all off around midnight Pacific Standard Time. So make sure to get in there and sign up before that happens. Right now you're getting $100 off the annual membership. We did bring down the quarterly a little bit. So I think I marked down all the prices, maybe somewhere around 20% off. So it's a good time to get in. We don't do a lot of sales, so I would take advantage of it if you can. And I was supposed to do this. Why? We're off our game today, I'm telling you. So, but we need to do another website tour is what we need to do. It's something Nancy and I were talking about doing, but we just got too busy. Too many things were going on. Then the show, and then I got to get ready for this backyard poultry summit that I agreed to do, and it's taken us more time than we hoped to get it done. Actually, I'm probably going to need more time to get it done because we decided to make a really nice program, but it ended up getting bigger and more complicated than we expected. And then Nancy's like, well, why don't you just make it for the members, and then we can kind of, edit it down into a nice tight package for the class. So that's what we're doing. And hopefully that will be done pretty soon. And then we'll be ready to go for the class. Looking forward to it. Should be good. So,
yeah, but if you're interested and you're not sure about joining into the Breeders' Academy, we do have a tour. So if you go to the free site, Kenny, the free website, it should be there where you can click on it and see the full tour of inside the website.
Yeah, they can also go to YouTube, and under the videos, it's at the bottom.
Okay.
So we do have a tour, but it's not up to date. Okay. But if you want to join, just go to www.breedersacademy.com. Once you join, you're going to have instant access to the website. You're going to get the Founders Program, the Masters Class videos, the programs and courses. You're going to get the complete collection of podcasts and live show videos. And then we do daily articles as well. You're going to get a lot of information from Brian Reeder on genetics, Peter Brown on it's so funny. It's sitting right here, and I'm going to explain it to Peter Brown on healthcare and disease prevention. It's like I have this whole thing about Peter Brown here, and he's sitting right here. It's
this guy right there.
Yeah. And then Dr. Gallardo also on healthcare and disease prevention, because it says Peter Brown, known as the chicken doctor, So, and then we do coach. Yeah, and we do coaching calls. Like I said, go to www.breedersacademy.com. Okay, Peter. So we're going to be talking about vitamins, the power of vitamins.
Yep.
So,
yep. One of the few things that people usually forget about and don't really take into consideration. I look at it this way: it's no different than a woman who becomes pregnant and she goes to the doctor, and one of the first thing he does, he puts her on neonatal vitamins, and so I look at chickens being the same way, especially if you have a lot of breeders and you're hatching a lot of chicks. So supplementation of them for with vitamins and with minerals usually leads to healthier chicks and stronger eggshells and bones and so on and so forth. So I like chelated minerals, and if anybody doesn't know what they are, they're minerals attached to a readily absorbed amino acid compound. So it's almost instantaneous that you'll get benefit from it. Whereas if you give a mineral that's in the raw, so to speak, and not been attached to an amino acid, it could take forever for it to break down in the bird's body, if ever. And there's all, like, take iron itself. There's all different forms of iron, and most of them don't absorb very well. So if we're adding iron to, I have pigeon flyers that like to add iron, and I always tell the story about the old timers who don't want to put supplements in, but put a nail in the water so it rusts, and they think they're giving them iron that way, and it doesn't really work that way. And that ties into the same thing we talked about last time. We talked about maybe it was a time before, we were talking about trace minerals, molybdenum, cobalt, that kind of thing. So all of it goes hand in hand. Sometimes you'll get a deficiency in one vitamin will cause deficiencies in others because they do work together. So it's an important thing. To me, it's incredibly cheap to do. But as we all know, in this particular business, money and time can decide whether to do it or not. But,
yeah.
And those, the guidelines for the nutrient values in your feed and that kind of stuff. There's now called the National Research Council, and it's a group of people all across the commercial poultry industry and other industries that come together to write the specifications for it. And if you look, they're just getting around now to updating the last copy of the book that came out, and the last copy that came out was in 1994. So the new one will have a lot more updated information and so on and so forth, which was not in the original book. So I know trace minerals is one of them. I think they have a whole chapter now they're devoting to amino acids. So that's what we're kind of talking about today, the vitamin end of it. And it's when would you use vitamins if you're not a person that's already supplementing? Already mentioned the breeding season, and I once they're done with the breeding season, I would discontinue unless you felt it was necessary to continue on, because I don't believe in overdoing it either. And we'll go through some of the vitamins here in a few minutes, and you'll see they come in two different forms: fat-soluble, water-soluble, how they get excreted from the body, and that kind of stuff. But it's
I'd be more worried about, like, let's say you get a certain feed, let's say it's a complete feed, or you hope it is.
Mm-hmm.
And for the average person, adding extra vitamins to enhance, like, breeding, fertility, hatchability, vigor, disease resistance, growth rates, stress. I have a whole list here: feather quality, longevity, overall performance. It's knowing how much to add, because you can really overdo it. And that could be worse than not giving it to them at all sometimes.
To a degree. I've never seen anybody overdose that I was aware of. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but there's wide parameters for all of these, and if you use a good balanced package, you shouldn't have a problem. I like the one I sell is a concentrate, okay, which means that it's you only use 1/4 teaspoon in a gallon of water. That's all you need. So a little bit goes a long way. When people talk about measuring things, there's a heaping teaspoon versus a normal level teaspoon. And there's the other side of the fence that a little bit more is better than a little bit less. And those things you can't help. But it's not only using it for breeding, when you're moving birds, handling birds, anytime you're upsetting them, relocating, which a lot of people in the gamefowl community will do, because they're always moving them on grass or whatever. And all of those things get them all upset and agitated, and it may not go right back to their feed. Same thing with fancy chickens, they're traveling to a show and that kind of stuff. Most of them, or a good portion of them, don't feed them while they're traveling and stuff. They don't want to, mess and get all dirty and then have to clean them up there. They wash them usually before they bring them. So, but no, I've been doing it a long time and just formulated a lot of different things that work for the people that I've been dealing with over the years. And that's basically how we operate anyway. There's nothing in my on my site basically other than some basic stuff that are not vitamins that you can't get what I have unless you get it from me. It's just stuff that I've come across over the years, had made for me or whatever that I know work, because I give stuff out free lots of times just to see if what we're doing is working, and have a pretty good percentage with doing it. So if you're moving, handling, vaccinating, those kinds of things, a great time. Anytime a bird is going to be off feed for a while, it's a great time to use vitamins, electrolytes, and minerals. Yeah.
So are you saying that if they're going, I get that they're going to a show and it's 12 hours away. I know a friend of ours is going to a show in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's a 12-hour drive. So I doubt she's going to be wanting to feed along the way. Mm-hmm. And so if I understand you right, since you're not going to be feeding, give them the vitamins and electrolytes to get them through the 12 hours. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you could give it to them beforehand, because if you feed them real heavy beforehand, make them fill up, then they defecate in the carry box that you're bringing with them, and then it becomes a mess. So then you could feed them obviously when you get where you're going, but you could also supplement them in their water and help take some of the stress off them.
Sounds good.
And you can also look at how your birds are. Are they kept in all the time? Are they out on free ranging? And that kind of stuff. What are the birds actually being used for? They're production birds where you're trying to get weight on them and that kind of thing. And those birds sometimes have a tendency to have weak bones, and so you want to make sure you get all the trace minerals, which are important to get in their system. And the best way to do that is with the chelated minerals, because it's almost guaranteed that it absorbs.
Okay, you mentioned free ranging. So does that mean that the free ranging birds need less vitamins from you because they're getting it from free ranging?
Well, I think it's a myth to a degree that if a bird's free ranging, it's getting everything that it needs, because you don't even know what they're eating. Right. Just because the crop is full doesn't mean it's beneficial. So I would supplement in the water a couple of days a week, 2-3 days a week. I wouldn't do it every day. And that's the other thing, you talk about overdoing it. If you do it every day, the reason during the breeding season, I want to do it in the beginning before you even put them together, just 10 days that should fill them up on everything that they basically need. And then 3 days a week after that, even 2 days is fine. But you certainly wouldn't continue on doing it, day after day. If you continue to have a problem with, soft-shelled eggs or something, you'd start to look elsewhere.
Yeah. So would it be good to, you look at the birds, you look at their conditions, and depending on whether you're seeing poor feather, poor flesh, activity levels, I don't know, my mind's going blank. You would then adjust your feed, then add the vitamins you think they need according to the deficiencies that you're seeing, right?
I would.
Yeah. Because it's like the free range birds. I don't just free range them. I mean, they have a pan of food, right, and I'll put food in there. And whatever they don't like, I'll throw it in there first, get them to eat there. Then I'll go feed the rest of the chickens. And then by the time I'm done, whatever's left in the pan, I take away. And then I let them find the rest of the food themselves. And they do well. And all I need to do is pick them up and fill them, I can see their activity in the yard.
Mhm.
Pick them up. They're like this. They are the strongest and probably the healthiest chickens on my farm. But yeah, I wouldn't expect them to be able to find everything they need but from free ranging, but I do give them something in the pan in the morning. So,
and there are a lot of people that don't necessarily supplement their birds if they're free ranging. Just let them free range and let them go. And a lot of people will give them grass and those kinds of things, which, not overly nutritious at the end of the day. And, there's other people that'll, like yourself, that will supplement them with, feed in the feeder and that kind of thing.
yeah. So let's see.
I got a question for Peter.
Okay.
Do specialized flocks need more vitamins than, your regular backyard birds?
What do you mean by specialized?
Yeah, what's specialized?
One of the questions you had on your outline, Kenny.
I don't have much of an outline here. I basically just took what Peter gave me and just wrote some things up. But
this is how.
Even if I specialize, so let's look at some of the.
Oh, I know what she's saying. Okay, so you got game birds, you got show birds, broiler birds, layers, backyard free rangers. So what were you saying about that, Nancy?
Okay, so all right, you've got your backyard yard candy birds that you just raise for getting eggs here and there, and then you have your show birds that you pay special attention to. You have your gamecock birds that are raised a little differently, and things like that. So are each type of bird, are they do they need a different variety of vitamins than just the ones that you're raising for backyard birds?
Because they all need the same vitamins, whether it's a show bird, whether it's a clunker in the backyard, just runs around and doesn't do anything. It's a pet, that kind of thing. So they all need the vitamins, the full gamut of them. Some need it more of it than others. The activity level is one of the ways I would gauge it. If you've got birds that are running around all around the yard, they're burning up things more than one that's just sitting on a roost all day long, isn't doing anything. We were talking about that pre-show. It's like having a dog that is a hunting dog, but you really don't hunt with him, but you feed him high protein, high energy diet, and you can't understand why he's chomping at the bit to run around the yard.
Yeah.
Tear your arm out of the socket when you go outside. So it's the same thing. You would, they usually recommend for those kinds of situations that, as a hunting dog, we ain't doing anything. Like a couch potato. So you usually cut them back. So
yeah,
I'll give you an example too. My daughter has a cat, and he's a little on the chunky side, and I think it's just because he's a neutered male. So Rudy's about 5 or 6 years old. Beautiful cat, a beautiful gray and white. I've never seen like it before. But so the vet put him on a real restricted diet. Okay, and so he gets a quarter of a cup of dry cat food once a day. And then he gets like a tablespoon of the wet food once a day, and that's it. And I'm here to tell you that's not enough for that cat. We all of a sudden, after being on that diet for a while, he lost some weight and everything else. He still looks good, but all of a sudden he decided, for obvious reasons, that he was going to lick himself to death. That sitting back up against the couch on his back, and just licking all up and down his breast and everything else. I said, there's something wrong with that cat, and lo and behold, wouldn't he get enough food to sustain him? You can't always go by what somebody else says. You have to know your animal. I guess that's what I'm trying to point out here. As soon as we increased his food just slightly, he stopped.
Wow.
So, it's you have to know your animals too. Maybe supplementation isn't for everybody, but I'm a big fan of it because I've seen what it can do.
I can see the damage it can do too when it's done wrong, which I get those kind of reports all the time. So
I can't help stupidity. I mean, anybody that knows me, usually most of the stuff I give you is written down, and if it isn't on a bottle, it's on a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper for you and big type so you can read it. Things that are important are outlined in colored letters and such. I can't help that part of it, but they have their place, and maybe they're not for everybody. We've done well with them over the years as far as helping people who have issues with their birds and so on. So
yeah, I've been using the same feed for years, and I adjust it a little bit. Like when it starts getting hot, warm, start getting close to the molt, I'll adjust it a little bit. Then when we get into the winter, when it's cold and wet, then I'll do some adjustments there, and pretty much my feed ration, I call it the Maximus mix. It's pretty much set up for how I want it during the breeding season. And then from there, I do the adjustments I need. But I'm just not a big fan of, let's say, supplements in general, because there's so many different ones out there. They all say they do different things. And then some I think are so full of, I think that it's so high in the nutrients that's in there that it burns the birds out. And I've had so many members come up to me and say, "Hey, what's going on with my birds? What's wrong with my birds? They're losing weight. They're losing breasts. They're not looking like they were." And I just start digging in deep. I go, "Okay, what'd you do different? Did you change your feed? What are you using?" And it always comes down to supplements that are messing them up. You know what I mean? And once they get, and some of the flocks, they lost their flocks because they got so bad. They overdid it. They were told to give not only the supplement, but to give a whole bunch of it,
Yeah.
And I told them, get rid of the supplement. Let's see if we can get them to come back. Some of them did. Some of them improved. Some of them we lost. And the ones that were just bound and determined to keep on using the supplement, I just said, well, let's try this for a while. Don't give it every day. And give half of what the bottle says. And let's see what happens. And it did help a little bit.
Yeah, I've never had those kinds of issues. I've had you have to understand one thing, by the time people get to me, the birds are half dead anyway. And we were able to save a lot of them over the years. Can't save them all. I'd like to, but you can't. And I've seen it as a really good positive thing. And obviously, if you pay attention, and there's another fan, Sue Dobson. See, likes the oil of oregano.
Yeah.
But that's a supplement, and that's something that you really have to use every day to get the biggest bang for your buck out of that one. So, but again, if you don't pay attention and you don't read the directions, because that one. It's so powerful, okay, that it's only 0.6 of a cc per gallon of water. So a 2-ounce bottle does 100 gallons of water. Okay, and but we've never really had any trouble with that product at all. And I've done it a zillion times. I've said to people, okay, if you don't believe it, buy it. If you don't like it, I'll give you back your money plus your shipping. Never had to do it.
Now, what Peter is referring to is the oregano oil. Sue is saying that the oil of oregano stuff works. Thank you, Peter. So that's what we were referring to at that moment.
And it's a side effect of it, or I shouldn't say a side effect, a side positive thing to it is that it does such a good job of maintaining gut health. Okay, that worms have a hard time living there. So I'm not going to tell you it's a wormer to use it as a wormer, but it is a tool in the toolbox that helps. And a couple episodes ago we talked about gut health, and it's gut health is probably, well, I know it's not probably, is the most important thing you can do for your birds. Okay, healthy gut, healthy bird. Bird hasn't got a healthy gut, got problems, and then they're not going. A lot of things happen with the unhealthy gut. Then they don't grow right, and crooked legs, can't stand right, poor feathering. And the other part of it is to the condition of the skin. The skin breaks down easily. Birds that get breast blisters from sitting on a roost and stuff. Now, part of that is the type of roost that they're sitting on, but the other part of it is that the skin is weak and breaks down easily. Similar to people when you get older, your skin has a tendency to lose the elasticity, becomes thinner, and that kind of stuff. Okay.
He's saying this year will be hard for the birds already had 6 die by influenza. Well, no vitamins are going to help that. So
No.
Wow, tough way to go.
Well, I don't know what he means by influenza, because some countries they'll call Newcastle influenza, and that's something you can control through vaccination.
Yeah, he said he lost 6. It's amazing he didn't lose them all. So.
Yeah, I wonder if it's truly influenza or not one of the others we've been talking about. The
Mm-hmm.
the metapneumonia virus. That's one that you don't necessarily lose them all, and they can recover from it.
Yeah, you might want to go check out that one. A couple of the episodes that Peter has done in the past month or two, because he has pinpointed certain viruses and their symptoms. So what you're dealing with, that you've lost your 6 birds, could possibly be one of those other viruses being masked. So check that out.
And I encourage people that this isn't for everybody, but if you're gonna raise birds, you should be capable of doing your own necropsy. You shouldn't have to. I put out for years a color disease chart that has all of the major poultry diseases on the perimeter of it. In the middle of it, it's got a bird completely posted out, all the parts of the intestine and everything all numbered and such, so that would represent a healthy bird, and then you could compare that to yours, and then you could look around on the chart, and it's not going to, I don't think it's going to tell you everything you need to know, but it could point you in the right direction. It can, whether it's coccidiosis, worms, or Merrick's, or lymphoid leukosis, and things like that. But to me, I think you owe it to your birds, not just to say, well, they died, and throw them in the dead bird pile. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, you kind of want to know what they've died from. I mean,
I would.
You really do. Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Quick question before we move on. We were talking about supplements there for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Are vitamins different than supplements, or are they one and the same?
Depends.
Yeah, it depends.
Okay.
Like some supplements will have it's like a vitamin pack where it has a lot of different types of vitamins in there, but I wouldn't even say some of those are complete as well. And then you have your individual vitamins, like we're going to explain here. So,
all right.
But there's a lot of different supplements out there, and I think people are using them wrong for the wrong reasons. So
so when you get into, we were talking feed earlier, and so when you get into feed, and I'm no nutritionist, so I'm just giving you what I know. You have no idea when you buy a bag of feed how long it's been at the feed store. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't know when they got it. Even if they got it in yesterday, you still don't know if it's fresh. So I would encourage people to learn how to read a feed bag. If they don't know, they can always contact the manufacturer, and they'll tell you how to read theirs and where their data is located. Sometimes it's a code, and maybe that's by design, maybe not. But the longer a bag of feed sits around, these vitamins will break down with time. And so while you're getting or paying for good feed, you may not be getting good feed at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's another reason for some sort of supplementation. And then what are you going to supplement with? It's not just vitamins and electrolytes. That's just one part of it. Okay. The other is the amino acids. I love amino acids. They just when a bird doesn't want to eat, just take the vitamins, electrolytes, and the amino complex that I sell and put it in the drinking water with a little bit of trace minerals, and they're eating. They're eating. As long as they'll drink, they're eating until you can figure it out. Okay. So I've got a number of people that do that, and I've got a couple of them that just swear by them just simply because when they get birds that are, and these are high dollar birds, some of them, on the fancy side, and they don't want to lose them, but you can keep them going, and if they're drinking, it beats tube feeding them. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people in the islands, in the South Seas, even in Hawaii, they have problems getting really good feed, like all flock. They have problems getting that. So I think being able to have some vitamins in their feed would be beneficial.
Well, all this stuff I sell goes into water. That's the nice part about it. It's not complicated. Mixing stuff in the feed over and above the feed that you get is a little bit more complicated,
Good to know.
Going back to old feed, I've seen it so many times where, here's a good example, is like my dad. He had chicks one season, and a few months later, it might have even been 6 months later, he decided to have more chicks, and he still had feed left over, and he fed those baby chicks. It killed those baby chicks.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've had people, I've seen it myself where I went to, I don't want to say what the feed store was, but I went on there and they obviously weren't rotating the feed because they only had a handful of bags on the shelf as it was. And it actually was the all flock. And I always check the tags. Ask Nancy. Always check the tags, check out the dates. And I try to get I've had feed stores. I've looked at tags. I went all the way down the bottom, and the freshest ones are at the bottom. And I asked for the ones on the bottom, and they're like, "Okay." I go, "You guys are gonna hate me, but those are the ones I want right down there," because I understand that the older the feed gets, the less nutritional value that feed's going to have, and it's really important to make sure you get the freshest feed. And I've seen people feed old feed that were a few months old, and the birds. And they bought a lot of it, and the birds just seemed to decline. They were losing muscle, they were losing weight. They were getting to where they weren't even eating the feed. So it's really important to get that feed as fresh as possible, because I've seen the devastation of not doing that. So you want to move to the
we can go
two
through
vitamin groups, the water soluble vitamins and the fat soluble. You want to start with the water soluble? Hit them one by one. Yep.
So basically, all of your B vitamins are water soluble. So what that means is that any excess taken into the bird's body, and even you as a human, if you take a B complex vitamin, most people already know it, that when they urinate, the urine will reflect that vitamin. You can actually smell it. Okay. So all of your B vitamins are water soluble, and your A, D, E, and K, they're fat soluble. So what is the difference? The water soluble are used, they're metabolized by the bird, use what it needs, and excrete the rest out. Doesn't hold any of it. So that's another reason for supplementation as well from that standpoint. And your fat solubles, the A, D, E, and K, they use what they need at the moment, and then they store the rest. And that's where any danger might come in, because a lot of them are stored in the liver. Some are stored liver, brain, kidney, whatever. And so there could be issues, but I've never seen it. I mean, I've been doing this 60 years, and I've just never seen it. And you would think that if somebody over the years had taken a supplement that they got from me, or any other supplement for that matter, I've seen it the other way around. I've seen so many chicks hatched out that could have been saved if they were on a vitamin compound of some sort before they put the breeders together, and when the eggs went in the incubator. After they go in the incubator, it's too late. Hard to rescue them when they come out and got other issues. But at any rate, we can run through these here, and I'm just going to read them off my side of the screen here because it's just too much stuff to keep in my feeble brain these days. So you have vitamin B1. That can a lack of that can contribute to appetite loss, neurological issues. Most vitamin deficiencies do not happen overnight. Okay. I have never seen it happen overnight. Usually they happen over time. So a lot of people will look at a bird and the first thing they jump to is a vitamin deficiency. And to be totally honest with you, over the course of my career, I've seen very few true deficiencies. Very few. A lot of the research stuff you'll read online or stuff you'll read online is from many, many years ago, before they even knew what chickens and ducks and geese and pigs and cows needed to sustain themselves, until all that stuff was figured out. And that's where that National Research Council comes in. We started out the beginning of the conversation with, and them updating this new book will make a big difference, because a lot of new stuff will be in there, and any nutritionist that's worth his salt has already made different adjustments to their feed. Some of them they'll put a little bit more of this in, and some of the amino acids will do the same thing. Then vitamin B2, curly toe paralysis, and slow growth. So if you take just those 2 vitamins there, you can have 4 different problems minimum. There are others, but just that. And then you go on to vitamin B3, overall weakness, slow growth, and digestive orders. Now you start to put the whole thing together, they fall apart. Vitamin B5, lowered egg production, hatchability issues. B6, skin dermatitis and convulsions. Biotin, depression and skin lesions. B9, porosis, deformed leg bones, poor feathering, poor growth. B12, same thing, poor feathering, anemia, fatty livers. While vitamin C is not generally considered a vitamin that they would be deficient in, it's you're supposed to get it from the sun, I guess, and all that kind of crap. I don't believe in all that stuff. I don't believe in it because they say the same thing about vitamin D3. I think if you go back and look at the research, I think you'll find a bunch of hocus pocus. Because I know more people that are vitamin D deficient than you've got hair on your head, and it seems to be like an epidemic thing. Okay.
So if they're not getting it from the sun, where do they get their vitamin D3?
Get it from the vitamin store.
No, I mean, out of let's say you're not taking vitamins. Let's say you just want to eat healthy. Where would you get the vitamin D3? I'm just curious.
Probably something that's more on the fatty side. I don't know directly.
I think that's one of our questions we have.
Well, I'm interested in that because I'm taking 5,000, IU of vitamin D3 now, and they're saying I might need to take. I mean, some people say you might need to take as much as 10,000, and that's a lot of vitamin D3. And so, where would you get that in your diet if you're not getting it from the sun? I'm just wondering.
I would say it's probably more in your meats than it is in anything else. Chicken, pork, beef. Not sure about how much of it's in vegetables. But I know I follow a guy from time to time, Gary Brecka. He's a human biologist. I've talked about him on the show before. And he says the same thing. You need a lot more than 5,000 international units of vitamin D3. And there's a precursor to it too. I guess they call it. There's a D3 with vitamin K2, supposed to make it absorb better. And look, go back to what we were talking about a couple of episodes ago when we talked about trace minerals and gut health and probiotics and all that kind of stuff. What you're taking has to be absorbable. Just because it's a particular vitamin, if it's not in a form that it's going to be absorbed by your body, you're not going to get the benefit of it. Now, I also think, that some of the deficiencies of these vitamins could be genetic, the inability of the body's ability to absorb particular vitamins.
I am. That's me. I'm telling you. I worked in the post office. I was out in the sun all day long
Look at
from
your skin color too.
8 hours to
I don't
10
think you
hours a
absorb,
day.
Nancy. I don't
And
think you can absorb the sun like we do.
no, okay, let me talk. So yes, I am not like a white girl, okay? And I go to the doctor and they go, "Yeah, you're vitamin D deficient." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm out in the sun all day long. How can I really?" But yeah. So it just
So
depends.
it's either the research is probably, to my knowledge, very old. Okay, because I'm up in age myself, and I've heard about it since I was a youngster. So I look around and I know a load of people that are taking vitamin D3 because they have to. They claim that the doctor said they're deficient. Some family members, for that matter. So some of it may be genetic. Okay, that's certainly a possibility of it. And some of it might be the vitamin D3 you're taking. Okay, and the other is a crappy diet. We know what that can do.
Well, yeah, let me tell you. Sue here is saying you need to drink milk, eat salmon, mackerel, and eggs.
Well,
And I don't eat fish at all. I don't drink milk at all.
She's a good
I'll cook
cooker
it for
of
him.
fish, but she doesn't eat it.
No,
I drink milk. I wouldn't touch salmon or mackerel with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, really? Oh, I love that stuff.
I do eat eggs.
Occasionally I'll eat eggs. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, thanks, Sue. I really appreciate that.
And what Kenny is referring to is I told Kenny to be quiet so I could finish my story. And Sue said, "Get him, Nancy."
Yeah.
No, when it comes to eating, I find something I like and I'll home in on that and I'll eat that religiously. I mean, I eat the same thing every morning, every morning, and that's,
I do too. 3 eggs every single day.
Yeah.
So you're talking about you went through the B vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
Is it important to take every single one of those vitamins, or you distinguish in your birds what you think they're lacking and then you give them that?
Well, like I said before, I think what we do is we give the vitamins unless you have an outright problem. At the start of sorry about that. I have no idea how to turn it off.
Let me ask you this real quick, Peter. If
he's not done answering my question,
it might help him answer it. Okay.
Don't go complicating
what I'm saying is,
stuff.
Let's say I've been feeding the same thing to my birds for years. Mm-hmm. And I pick up my birds, they feel good, they look good, they act good, they're reproducing really well, they're healthy. I don't have any issues, they're never sick. So I'm assuming that I'm feeding them a balanced diet, that I don't need to add anything. And then there's some other people where they're seeing things like their plumage isn't good as it should be, or their weight isn't proper, or something like that. And then I would say, okay, let's start looking into their diet and see what they're missing. And then I would add that, not a whole supplement that only adds to maybe the complete feed and then doubles up on the vitamins. That's not what you want to do. What do you think about that? If you're feeding a complete feed and the birds look good, act good, and perform good, and they're reproducing really well, then I wouldn't want to mess with anything,
Maybe not. You're used to your birds. You're seeing the same thing over and over. What makes you think you couldn't get better feathers? What makes you think you couldn't get brighter colors, redder head, stronger legs, better leg color? You don't know.
Because if they did, they'd explode. I think they're pretty good right now.
Well, I'm not saying they're not.
I know. I'm just kidding with you.
It's
he's biased.
Yeah. I do everything perfect. I do. I tell you. Yeah.
I've just seen it over
That's
the years.
Me laughing.
where we've had very good success with the products. Now, I mean, nobody's going to buy it if they don't see something in it. Okay. And I sell a fair amount of it for a small company. Here's
my argument. Okay. If I'm seeing a deficiency somewhere and I'm going to give them something to fill that deficiency, then I got to be careful of what I'm giving them, because I could not only fill that or complete that or improve that deficiency, but I could be also doubling up on their vitamins, the other vitamins that they get too.
You could, if the birds are active, they're going to use them up, especially the B vitamins, which really don't have to have much worry about, but they are going to burn them up pretty quick because they use what they need and they excrete it out. So every time they have a dropping, there's vitamins in it. I mean, I guess. Well, here's the other thing: how often do you get checked for your vitamin D, Nancy?
I haven't in years because
So how do you know?
I got on vitamins for about a year and a half, and it leveled out, and everything's good. Oh, so yeah, once a year. So once a year, I do go do blood work, and it checks all my everything. So yeah, and it's good now.
So what?
But I take vitamins.
Well, the question begs that hasn't been answered. Then is that why did you need it in the first place?
Because it wouldn't absorb, my skin wouldn't absorb the vitamin D.
But how's it absorbing it now? That you said
through my vitamins.
But you're still taking them.
I'm still taking my vitamins. Yeah.
She wasn't taking them at the time she was deficient.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, but now you're saying your levels are good. Okay. I think it's genetic myself. It has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Because you would think if you were taking the vitamins, it would pick it up and it would level out and it would stay that way, but it's not.
Yeah.
So you probably have a genetic propensity to not make the vitamin D3 through the sunlight, whether it's skin color or just,
I'm flawed.
Because some of the people I'm talking about are as white as a ghost. And and they're all on 5,000-10,000, international units and don't look like they're getting anywhere.
Oh, damn.
So, okay, do you want to talk about fat-soluble vitamins? A,
yeah,
G,
we can go
and
through
K?
them real quick.
Yeah, we need to go through them real quick. But first of all, we need to take a break so that we can all recoup our thoughts and hear a word from our sponsor.
Oh, boy.
And now I was there, and now I got to come back to it and figure it out where I'm supposed to be.
I'm glad you're the editor, not me.
Bye.
This show is brought to you by the Breeders Academy, where we will help you to increase your knowledge of breeding, advance your skills as a breeder, and help you to improve the quality and performance of your fowl.
As a member, I'll provide you a roadmap that you will need to create a true family or strain. Starting with a cock from one breeder and a hen from another breeder, no problem. We can help you to turn your flock of hybrid crosses or mongrels into a pure family or strain, and show you how to continually improve that strain each generation. We'll start by showing you how to select your seed fowl and how to turn that seed fowl into a high-quality foundation strain. Our proven breeding programs and specialty courses are designed to take you step by step through the breeding process. And best of all, I'll be there to help you every step of the way.
We urge you to check it out. You have nothing to lose, and you can cancel at any time. You also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Simply go to www.breedersacademy.com to sign up.
The Breeders Academy will not only change the way you think about breeding, but improve the way you breed your fowl. You know what I like about these commercial breaks? I was able to run and go get my coffee. That was cool. By the way, too, just to remind you guys, this is the last day of the Black Friday sale. It ends at 12 o'clock midnight. So get in there, take advantage of it. The prices are about 20% less than what they usually are. Good time to join. Okay. So
Christmas is coming.
Yeah. And Nancy's Christmas present is really expensive, so I need members to help me pay for it. So, here's something that came through while we were on break. Hey, how's it going, guys? Let's see. I have a question. Is the chicken doctor agree that black pepper helps body absorb nutrients from the feed? You know anything about that, Peter?
Yeah. So when you look at it, there are there are, well, let's go to the olive oregano. Okay. It has a product in it called piperine, which is an extract of the black peppercorn. And what it does is it makes it absorb better. Okay. The same thing with turmeric. So if you're going to take turmeric and it's not potentiated with black peppercorn, it's not going to absorb very well. It absorbs very poorly through the gut wall, whether it be chicken or human. And so it's to your advantage to do that. I can't say that it would be any better in the feed, but it can't hurt. And I don't know what, I don't know what the interaction would be with all the different nutrients that are in the feed breaking down in the gut. I think that just as important would be a probiotic. And you don't have to use a probiotic every day. One of your followers that I'm friends with on Facebook, and I mentioned him the last show, he wanted to use a probiotic. And he's not from this country. I think he's from England, but I'm not sure. And I told him, I said, look around where you're at and find a probiotic, take a picture of it, show it to me, and I'll tell you if it's any good. So he found one that's available here that I'm familiar with. Okay. And I told him it was good. And he went and bought it, and then I told him how to use it. And the very first time he used it, the next day, he showed me the droppings. They were not so good the first day when he showed them to me, but when just one day on the probiotic, okay, the droppings tightened right up. As a matter of fact, they had him back off the dosage of it a little bit because they were a little bit too tight. Okay, but nice, well-formed dropping, and just what you want to see, but just a little bit dry. And I don't like to see too much dry, and that can do that. Okay, overuse of it can also create a diarrhea situation due to lactic acid in the product. So I'm, like I say, I'm a big proponent of gut health, and look, this goes on the human side too. Okay. The best defense you have is your gut, and the best defense the chicken has is its gut, because it's, they're down in the ground and digging around and picking up stuff and everything else, and you can stop an awful lot of stuff before it gets going. And when the gut goes to pot, so does everything else. And right now there's a big flap going on between the FDA and I might not be pronouncing his last name right, but his first name is Dr. Patrick Chiong, Chiong, and he has a product that he's developed that treats cancer. He's got over 1,000 patients that he's cured with cancer, but yet the FDA will not allow him to use it on other cancers. They want a 10-year controlled study and all this nonsense. I'm here to tell you from my own, this is just me talking, because I research a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with chickens. And I've been actually putting it up on my Facebook feed. This product really just supercharges your killer cells in your own immune system. That's all it is. And that's why they don't want it. No chemo, no nothing, none of these people. And you're talking about bladder cancer, which is rough. That's tough to stop. And he's got 1,000 people plus that he's helped with that, and they're free. Some of them for years. So if you look at chemotherapy, when you take it, while it may be good at killing the cancer cells, it also wipes out your immune system. That's why you feel like crap. One of the reasons, not the only one, but that's one of them. Okay. Your immune system is your number one defense against everything. They're wiping it out. He's trying to put it back in place. Not only putting it back in place, but supercharging your immune system. It's only a little bottle of stuff. I don't know what it costs, but he's actually he's an actual billionaire himself. He's a billionaire doctor, and he has taken his own money and doing research because they're not doing it. So he's an interesting guy. You should look him up on online and see what's going on. He's done a number of interviews and stuff, and he had a long time to get this stuff even licensed. He finally did get a license for it, but it's your immune system is where it's at. That's whether it's human, chicken, dog, cat, doesn't matter.
So vitamin A,
mm-hmm.
We don't need a lot of that, do we?
No. So in chickens and a lot of the stuff, same thing would happen in humans. You can get eye lesions. I'm dealing with somebody now that I think has got an issue. Can't say it's a vitamin deficiency. At this point, I have no way of knowing, but it's a lesion growing on the outside of the lower eyelid, and seems to be getting bigger, and it's hard. So I don't think it doesn't look like an infection, but we're not sure.
Well, you're talking about the immune system. Vitamin A really helps out with the immune system quite a bit, mm-hmm. right?
Well, you need all of them. Like I was saying earlier, a deficiency in one of these can lead to a deficiency in a whole bunch of them because they need each other to a degree. And so you would see severe muscle incoordination with vitamin A deficiency. Okay. And we'll move on to vitamin D, rickets, weak bones, vitamin E, inappetence, encephalomalacia, that's brain problems, okay, swelling of the brain.
That's what's wrong with Kenny. You need more vitamin E.
I knew you'd figure it out. It's the only thing I don't take. How come I don't have any vitamin E in my thing?
It's Monday.
It's true. So I don't have any vitamin E in my pack.
Then vitamin K is a no-brainer. It's a reduced blood clotting time and hemorrhaging. Okay. So,
what do you think about people who they increase the vitamin K to help with clotting when they're dubbing their birds? I actually think they overdo that too a lot of times. I've seen people kill birds because they overdid the vitamin K.
Yeah. I was somebody I knew that did it differently. They don't give them anything, and there was another one that was giving adrenaline, which seemed to close up the blood vessels, and there was others that would dub them and dump their head in a bucket of ice water real quick. Seemed to, I don't know.
Well, okay, back to the supplements, because this has something to do with vitamin K as well. There was a supplement out there that had a lot of vitamin K in it, and this guy was giving it, one of my members was giving it to his baby chicks because he was told that the supplement was good for the baby chicks, and he couldn't figure out why his baby chicks were dying. So he stopped giving the supplement to the upcoming baby chicks, and everything was fine. So it was in it.
What would have been the purpose?
Vitamin K was high.
But so, I would want to know why you were giving the supplement to baby chicks that had a high vitamin K.
Because he was told to.
Well, I know that, but for me, it doesn't make sense to me.
No, it didn't to me either. Yeah. But it was high in vitamin K, and he was giving it to his baby chicks, and they were dying on him until he stopped using it, and then everything got better, went away, almost like nothing ever happened.
Yeah,
that's the problem. You have people new in this hobby, and they don't know better, so they'll listen to a lot of different people.
This is why I'm just so against supplements, especially when you have a complete feed. I think Neutrino line is one of the best feeds out there, and usually when people are feeding any of those, I just tell them don't even touch the supplements, because I see people getting in trouble so much when they're using the supplements. Now, I understand that if you have a poor quality feed, or maybe you're using a feed that's all scratch, or it's the Gamecock feed, I wouldn't even call that a complete feed, and you need to use the supplement to get you over the hump until you figure out your feed situation, then fine. You get to that point, you balance out your feed, quit giving the supplement. I know you haven't seen it very much, Peter, but I hear it all the time.
It may exist more in the gamefowl community than it
Yeah.
does anywhere else.
I agree.
You know,
Mhm.
I mean, I still deal with some. I don't have near the following with gamefowl folks these days that I used to have. But I'll help anybody that gives me a holler or a shout out on Facebook or calls the office, whatever, leaves a message. Doesn't matter who you are. I'm more interested. I don't care what you do with them. I've always said to people, I don't care what you do with them. You march them around your backyard, shoot them in the head. They're your birds. Just don't let the bullets ricochet in my yard.
Just don't tell me about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not even that. I don't care. My message and my thing is the way I look at it. It's my passion to save the bird. What you do with it is your business. And that's how I operate. So,
What's this about? It was part of your article, vitamin therapy for strengthening the immune system. Did we already talk about that, or is that something different? The vitamin therapy.
I think that's probably the other article that.
Okay.
Well, again, we can talk about it if you want. Really,
Sure.
what it amounts to is if you're deficient in let's go with the vitamin D. The vitamin D is a big part of how your immune system functions, not only in chickens but every animal, even in yourself. When you're deficient in that vitamin D3, you're going to be more prone to sickness, poor health, and that's why this guy Gary Brecker, human biologist, he's I think he's up around 25,000 international units is what he thinks people should take.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. So I'll go over it real quick. What a human biologist does, he may do other things, but what he did as a human biologist, he worked for insurance companies for 20 years, and he would write the actuary tables, which the insurance company would use based on your health and your age. They know when they write a policy for you, pretty much when you're going to die. He can tell you within a year or so. And he did that for Dana White. You know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dana White had all kinds of problems, and you can look that up because Dana White does a show with him, telling him how this guy Gary Brecker saved his life because he was, running around the country eating poorly and doing everything else, and really having the money to eat properly, just didn't have the know-how and the common sense to follow something decent. So he got them all straightened out, got his high blood pressure finished, and diabetes, the whole 9 yards. I mean, a lot of these things you can overcome them. You just have to, put the time in on them. Most people don't. We live in a funny society that will talk about it, but never wants to do it. And sometimes that's time, and sometimes it's cost. So.
You want to address the questions, Nancy?
Yes, we have some questions, and it's getting late for back Easterners people, and they have to work tomorrow. So let's get those going. Sunny is asking.
I'm back east.
We're retired, aren't we?
Yeah, but Sunny probably has to work tomorrow. So let's get her question in. Can feeding kitchen scraps to backyard chickens be a daily basis, providing vitamins and extra nutrition?
Yes, it can. But I'm not a fan of treats. To me, doing this once in a while is not so bad. The problem with supplemental type feeding is that then they don't eat the complete feed that you bought at the feed store. And then you can have issues because you don't know exactly what they're going to get out of that, how they're going to absorb it. I would limit it. I'm not against it totally, but I would limit it. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
that I have dealt with a lot of people who do that, and the birds just don't thrive.
Well,
they're no different than children.
They get chickens for the first time. They think they're the garbage disposals. They
Well, yeah.
think they can feed everything that they don't
Yeah.
eat and
Yeah.
to give to their chickens. Yeah.
I just saw that on a reel on Facebook yesterday. And I'm sorry, guys, but I gave it a thumbs down because, 10%, what is it? The 10% rule.
That's
It's
what
like
we
if
used
you-
to do. Yeah.
Yeah. If you eat candy, 90% of the day and only vegetables the other 10%. What do you think's going to happen? And those chickens are smart. They're going to hold out for the good stuff, and they're not going to get the stuff that they need. I mean, chicken feed is for chickens. People food is for people.
But see, I don't even believe in scratch feed. Scratch feed to me is crap. Okay.
Yeah.
It's really junk. It's a poor nutrition from my standpoint. But they will wait around for it. If you come out at 2:00 every day or even in the afternoon, they know it and they'll be waiting there. They're just like kids.
They're smart.
If your kid knows he can have a Twinkie at 2:00 and you're going to have dinner at 4, guess what? When dinner at 4 comes, they're not going to eat very well.
I want my Twinkie. Okay, so Sue is asking, could it be because the food we eat is grown in nutrient deficient soil and sprayed heavily?
That sounds like
I have no research that I've ever read that says that anything about that. So when you talk about scraps, could be, because a lot of stuff that's in the supermarket these days doesn't even come from this country.
Exactly.
Everything. Well, there's a lot of stuff you've got to watch. Learn to read a label, seriously, because stuff comes from places you don't want it to come from.
So watch what you eat, guys. All right. And so she was talking about, why we're not getting the vitamins from our food and why we need vitamins. We need vitamins because we're not getting enough from the food. So that is a good answer there. All right. So Spaz is asking, what's your thoughts on vitamin E supplements for fertility?
I'm not a fan of using a single vitamin like that. Again, going back to what I was saying before, a lot of these vitamins, minerals depend on each other, and an overabundance of one. Think of it as an intersection. That's we've all seen them, where an intersection is regulated by a light, let's say. So it's you go, they go, you go, they go, that kind of thing. And if there's too much traffic all trying to get through at the same time, you get a traffic jam, and then nothing moves, and then you get deficiencies in other areas. So I'm not a big fan of that type of thing. I can't see that one vitamin being so deficient that would be the only one that you would give.
How much of an effect on fertility does vitamin E have, though?
I'm not sure, being honest. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think,
like, is it a starting point and then you work with the rest of them, or
well,
because that's what I was told too.
I'll tell you, it's going to have a big influence. Okay, because if you go back and look at what we said about what a deficiency in vitamin E is, okay, encephalomalacia. So you get chicks born with the brain outside the body, that kind of thing.
Ooh.
So it has a big effect, but I have never supplemented with a single vitamin. Never. Other than I take that back. I do have vitamin D in the office, a very powerful liquid vitamin D. So if you've got eggshell problems or whatever, you could do that. But
okay, now the next question is, I breed budgies. Did I say that right, Kenny?
I think so, yeah.
Budgies. Okay. One question I have is vitamin D supplements or UVB lighting. So which one's better?
Okay, I know nothing about UVB lighting, so I can't speak to that. But budgies, if my memory serves me correctly, real small birds.
It's like a parakeet.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm a little bit ignorant on that subject, but I would make sure that the feed that I was getting them was really good. And again, not too many treats, because you're dealing with a small metabolism. So I would, if you want to, I don't think it would be just vitamin D. I think I would, look into something in that world. I want to tell somebody and end up killing them, because I'm not a budgie expert at all. Not at all. So
yeah,
go ahead.
what we've talked about tonight is vitamins are good in its own place. It has its own place. Don't use vitamins by itself. They need to be grouped together with the other vitamins because they depend on each other to get the absorption through the body.
Yep.
If you have really good feed, like we do here in Southern California, Nutrina, we may be having enough nutrients and vitamins in our feed that will supplement where we don't need to add extra. But there's a lot of places around the world that do not have great feed, and that's where vitamins really come into play. Do you want to talk a little bit about your vitamins and the different ways that they can use your vitamins? Like, it's not in the, I think you said it's not in the feed, but it's in the water.
Yeah. And that makes it convenient for supplementation. And it's a full vitamin package. It's got all the necessary vitamins and stuff in it. And then the minerals are chelated. That's a separate product. So it would be VitaPro B for the vitamins, Trace Min Chelate for the trace minerals. And I've got another one, Replimin Liquid with iron. That's pretty popular. And the one I think is equally as important of all the things we've been talking about is the amino complex product that I've got, which is a full complement of all the necessary and then some amino acids. And they're the building blocks of life. Without them, you're not going anywhere, and I'm not going anywhere, and neither are your chickens. So, it's a liquid. You mix them together, put it in a drinking water for a few days, and go on. But I think real quick, we can run through these vitamins, how they are excreted from the body, where they're excreted. And it gives you some idea of where it travels in the body at the same time. Okay. So your B vitamins, basically, B1 goes back out of the bird in the urine and the feces, B2, the urine, B3, B5, B6, all through the urine. B9, mostly feces and some in the urine, B12 in the feces. Now, B12 is an interesting thing as a water-soluble vitamin. And the Gamefowl community uses a lot of that, okay? And I never really understood that because it doesn't stay with them very long. And, back in the day, I sold boatloads of that stuff. And but anyway, that goes out through the feces. Vitamin H, urine and feces. Vitamin C in the urine. Now we get into the fat-soluble.
Hold on a second, Peter. I get a question. So let's say, like, if we have too many water-soluble vitamins, we pee it out.
Yeah.
You know, chickens don't pee; they have urates.
Right,
like
it's gonna come
white
out
urates on the. Is that a way to tell whether we're giving them too much vitamins by the amount of urates on the droppings? Would we see that, or would we not see that at all?
It's an interesting question. I've never looked at it that way, but there's always a reasonable amount of urates on top of the droppings. So the dropping's a 2-part dropping. Yeah. So I don't have an answer other than what we're talking about, because
I know if the proteins are too high, we'll see more urates in the droppings. But I don't know about the vitamins.
Yeah, that's because the protein is probably directly affecting the kidneys.
Right. Okay. Right.
So that's the reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't say that the vitamins are doing that. I couldn't have no research to show that.
It just popped in my head.
That's a valid question. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking for a way to tell whether I'm giving them too many vitamins by you saying it comes out in the droppings. Well, I want to know what I'm looking at. What would I see that would tell me that the vitamins I'm giving them too much?
I don't think with any of them you could tell anything. I think that what I'm trying to say here with this is that this is the way it gets out of the body. We know how it gets in. This is the way it gets out. And the fat soluble will be a little bit different. So they're deeper to me in the body. So when you start looking at like here, vitamin A, mainly in the bile, some in the feces. So that's actually going to be in the gallbladder area, in the liver. Okay. And that's basically where it ends up being stored. And so that, it could cause trouble that way. But I'm just telling you, in 60 plus years, I've never seen it. Never. I've never had somebody, have called me up and say, I'm using this and they're dying. It's just
Well,
because we don't give it every day. If you gave it every day, I could see it. I think you would see it.
well, there's some supplements out there. They're giving spoonsful
Well,
of this
and,
stuff,
and again,
I'm
and
seeing
again,
it. Yeah.
I can't speak to all these other supplements that people come up with, all this cockamamie stuff.
Yeah. We call it magic dust.
yeah. I know what you're talking about because I get that stuff all the time. And like I say, I don't deal with as many Gamefowl people today as I used to. I don't advertise in any magazine anywhere. I don't advertise, period. Haven't for years. So, you kind of lose track. But there are people that know me. They know how to get a hold of me and that kind of thing. And I just know what I have and what I've been selling for all this period of time. And the formula doesn't really change. So,
so what you are saying is your stuff doesn't do that.
Well,
your stuff doesn't.
I have no evidence that it does or it doesn't, other than the fact that people use it. If you use it correctly, we talked earlier in the show about, a little bit is good, more is better. No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
I go through the same thing with medication. Okay. I'll send it out with directions on it. And, when they call me back or I ask how things are going, you'll find it. Well, I gave him a teaspoon and a half. Why'd you do that? Well, I'm trying to speed it up a little bit or whatever, it's just, and the same thing. Gamefowl people are great for giving shots. They love shots. Thailand, LA 200. Okay. I gave it for 2 days. It went away. Well, you're part of the reason we have antibiotic resistance because
exactly.
So I can't control those things. You know what I'm saying? I have no control over it whatsoever. And other than the fact that, hopefully people can read. And like I said, every direction that I send out that is supplemental to something, I put it on 8.5 by 11 paper. And I tell you how to do it. Like you take, just for argument's sake, we take oxytetracycline, okay, which is the same thing as terramycin. Terramycin being a trade name, oxytetracycline being the active ingredient, okay? I tell you down at the bottom of that in big, bold red letters, if you're having trouble, mix it with some Denagard, okay? Then I also tell you, mix some flavoring with the Denagard because it tastes like crap and they'll back away from it.
Yeah.
They'll only drink enough to get through the day rather than really, going out and getting a good drink because it tastes crappy. So, flavor it so they'll get what they need. We had to do the same thing with pigs years ago. The same thing. Pigs are very particular on what they eat. Okay. So, I don't know. I do the best I can on my end to try to explain to people. So I tell you that if you're not getting anywhere, and I do the same thing with like the Teagard. If you're using the Teagard and you're not getting anywhere, mix these two together, the oxytetracycline. Okay. But it's all in big capital letters that are, you've seen it when you make the font, you can make it lighter or darker. So I make it, a bright red so you can see it. Yeah. That means something, doesn't mean stop. It means take a look.
Yeah. Francine's asking how to get a hold of you. Francine, the website address at the bottom of the page there, you can go, that'll take you to his website. The QR code in the upper right, that'll take you to his website. And then he can help you. Peter's the only one I would send people to as far as healthcare and disease prevention and the medications and all that. I mean, there's a lot of people that sell medications. Peter's the only one I would send you to. So,
well, I appreciate that. But my goal with everything that I do is to solve the problem. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a genius. I read just like that article I sent to Kenny that has to do with what he does, genetics on the cows. Okay. I thought it was fascinating. And it was right up the alley of what you speak all the time. Keep the ones that are beneficial and good, and the ones that are troublemakers out.
Okay, one more question, and we need to pop off because we've been on for an hour and a half. What do you think about apple cider vinegar, Peter?
It has its place. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like everything else, it has
like everything else. If it's working for you, stick with it. There's, if it's not, then there's things that you can move on to. But it's it's a controversy that it isn't worth getting into an argument with anybody about. If it's working for you, and I'm also a big fan of things that are working for you, don't change anything.
No, I think apple cider vinegar and oil of oregano are the two, some of the two best.
Yeah.
So I guess you could call them supplements. That
I don't know of any other vendor that sells both products. Okay. And I'm toying around now with black cumin oil. Okay. I just bought some of that organic stuff, and I have a very good source of getting really, really good certified organic products. I have a client that buys a reasonable amount of cod liver oil every year for their birds. Okay. We're talking high-end Icelandic organic certified and a whole bit. We're talking stuff that's over $100 a gallon, but it's the top of the shelf,
Francine, I'm really happy to hear that she hasn't used medications in years. And I think for the most part, that's the best way to go. I like to cull the sick birds and breed to the healthy, but I will say again that if you need medications, I would go to Peter. But the fact that it looks like she's leaning more towards the natural or organic, that's the best way to go. So you want to read that, Nancy, real quick?
Yes.
Peter?
Haven't used medication in years. What does he think about red pepper flakes with rosemary and oregano?
I don't have any experience with the rosemary, no direct experience with the pepper flakes, but I know they use it for worming. The oregano, I'm the number one fan. I've been selling it before anybody else. Over 15 years now. Okay. Same consistent product day in, day out. So.
All right. So parting, what's the word I'm trying to think of here?
Parting thoughts.
There you go.
Okay. So we're going to end this. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate you coming on, talking about vitamins. We haven't done that before.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And I do want to encourage people to join the Breeders' Academy. What do we got? Got about another 4 or 5 hours before I shut things down. Like I said, this is a good time to join. The prices are somewhere around 20% lower than they normally are. It's a good time to join.
You have an hour and a half if you're back east.
No. For me, I'm not turning it off. So for another 4 or 5 hours. So you have 4 or 5 hours. Anything you want to say, Nancy, before we wrap it up?
You have over an hour and a half left. If you want to join, get in there now.
Okay, do it before you go to bed, okay?
Do it before you brush your teeth, take your vitamins, and drink your last swig of water.
And I want to thank all the ones that did take advantage of it. We got a lot of new members, and I really appreciate that. And I can't wait to be part of your journey in creating, improving, and maintaining your strain. Okay, Peter, we'll talk to you later. And thank you guys for coming on.
Yep,
the questions and comments were awesome. So, okay, say bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.